On behalf of Spokane County Fire District 3, want to say welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the excellent collaboration amongst all the agencies, be it fire, be it law enforcement, be it our utility companies. Certainly the ongoing support from the community, City of Medical Lakes, City of Cheney, communities of Four Lakes, Tyler, collaborative effort out on the ground. Certainly appreciate the ongoing efforts and support to try and provide the best outcome for our community. So welcome everybody this morning. Just wanted to say thank you on behalf of Fire District 3. Again, I'm Cody Rohrbach, Fire Chief here at District 3. With that, I'll turn the mic over.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Pat Ryan. I'm the Region Manager for DNR's Northeast Region. Welcome to our little shindig here today. We want to give you a briefing on two of the fires we have. This is the Incident Command Post for the Gray Fire, and we also have some help here to show us a little bit what's going on at the Oregon Fire, northeast of Spokane. So I want to introduce some of the speakers we're going to have today. First off, from the team that has the Gray Fire right now, we have Tom Merritt, he's the IC. We have Britt, he is the IC trainee. And then also I want to introduce the IC and Deputy IC for Team 7 that will be taking this fire over tomorrow morning. And we've got, excuse me, Nate Lefevre, yes, and Eric Kerr. Also, another speaker we're going to have is Guy Gifford with DNR. He's going to talk about our fire. And then we have Steve Bodnor. Where'd he go? There he is. He's going to tell you about the weather. So with that, welcome, and we'll turn it over to Tom.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Tom Merritt. I'm the Incident Commander for Team 7, and we have the Gray Fire right now. Just want to give you a real brief overview of fire progression and activity on the Gray Fire in the last couple days. So, starting on August 18th, I'll back up. Fire started on August 18th. Red flag morning, we had strong winds coming out of the west. Fire started early afternoon and pushed the fire. Origin is over here on the Gray Road. Pushed it from west to east across the community of Medical Lake. Later that afternoon, we had an abrupt wind shift coming out of the north-northeast that pushed the fire south towards I-90, jumped I-90, and then made it down just outside of, off of Salthaven, Highway 904, excuse me, 902. So for the fire activity today, Division Alpha, this is the coolest part of the fire. This is the northern part of the fire. Crews today are doing some line improvement. We still have a little bit of line to stitch together up here in the northeast corner and mopping up around structures. Moving along, Division Tango, we're improving and connecting dozer line with some disc line. And we also had a little bit of a slop over last night between Graham and Brooks Road down here on the south. Moving over to Division Zulu, we're holding the burnout from last night right here on I-90. We did a little burnout and some dozer work. Spokane County Fire District 3, along with some local cooperators, were able to get down around this real key piece of fire last night, and it's held today, and everything's looking really good. And then continuing on today, we're just improving line and doing a little more work around Blue Herring and Salnave Road. Right here, there's still some unchecked line, and just doing some structure protection and making sure everything stays in place. That's all I got.
Well, let's go over to weather. Steve Bonner.
Good afternoon, everybody. Steve Bodner, the incident meteorologist from the National Weather Service, assigned to the Gray Fire. And just want to say, you know, as a resident of the Spokane area for the last 17 years, you know, my thoughts and prayers definitely go out with everyone impacted by these fires. Living on the outside of the town, I know what it could be like, and yeah, it's rough. So on Friday, August 18th, as Tom mentioned, you know, we were dealing with some pretty extreme weather. We had a really strong dry cold front, winds sustained 25, gusting 35. And what made that event kind of unusual was how dry it was. Single-digit RHs, and that lasted for almost 10 hours. And what compounded that is that, you know, this area has only received about 35 hundredths of rain over the last 90 days. So that's kind of what set the stage for last Friday. The good news is, you can see on the weather matrix behind me, we see a lot of greens. In the next couple days, we're now dealing with cooler temperatures, higher humidity values, and we actually have some light rain coming in. This will be moving into portions of eastern Washington tomorrow evening, and it's going to not potentially be a lot of rain, but it's going to be a steady, long duration rain into Tuesday morning. And you know, getting just drizzly rain like that for 8 hours is even better than getting like a quarter inch of rain. And then as we move through that, you know, it doesn't look like any kind of real extreme fire weather conditions going into next week. So good news on the weather front. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. My name is Jessica. That's what I was going to do. Perfect. So next is Oregon Fire. This is Guy, our PM.
Guy Gifford, I'm the Public Information Officer with Team 3 on the Oregon Fire. The story for this fire is very, very similar to Great Fire. The only difference is this fire started about 4 p.m. And just like the Great Fire, the initial sustained winds was pushing it towards the east. And then we had the wind shift, sudden wind shift, and it pushed it to the south. And that's why it has this shape. Currently, it's 9,200 acres in size. Yesterday, we had about 100 firefighters on it. This morning, we had 319. And right now, I believe we're over 400 firefighters on the scene today. Yesterday, the focus for the crews was structure protection, as well as starting dozer line over the north and dozer line on the west. And they pretty much got the north dozer line and the west dozer line yesterday, but it was not always near the fire. And so one of the things working today is securing those lines and continue with dozer construction around the south and coming down to the east is the focus, as well as structure protection. So the hand crews and the dozer will be working together on getting those fire trails in. We have approximately 70 plus structures lost. That count will change as we start actually doing the formal counting of those structures lost. We don't have any idea of the ratio yet. We haven't had time to figure out the ratio of primary versus outbuildings yet. So that'll come in the next couple days as we finally try to get trail and starting to get a handle on the fire. That's it.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. So my name is Jessica Lewis. I'm the comms manager for DNR for Eastern Washington, and I have been passed talking points on the behalf of the Red Cross. Red Cross disaster workers are helping evacuees find a safe place to stay, food to eat, and emotional support during a challenging time. They have 2 shelters. One is open at Spokane Falls Community College in Spokane, and the other one is Riverside High School in Chattaroy. On Friday night, they had over 300 people in their shelters, and that dropped to 226 tonight. They expect that number to continue to decrease as people make personal arrangements, and they should also know that the Red Cross will be sheltering as long as they're needed. Anyone who has been affected by the fires is welcome to stop by to get a hot meal and access other resources. Showers are available at each site. They want to thank the community's response. They've had over 150 people volunteer. And if volunteering is something you're interested in, go to redcross.org and look for available shifts in your area. They understand that people are generous and want to do everything they can to help in a disaster. Their first priority is to provide shelter and support to those affected, and financial donations are the quickest and the best way to help those who need it most. The long-term needs of those impacted are still coming into shape, and they know it's going to be a long recovery process. Every financial donation helps, no matter the size. $5 can provide a blanket, and 10 can provide a meal. As part of the world's largest humanitarian organization, the Red Cross has the ability to use their financial support to reach people more quickly, and they appreciate you. Thanks for what you're doing. Next, we have the Lands Commissioner, Hilary Franz.
I just want to say first to all the men and women who are here and many, many more out on the ground, thank you. This is an incredible, good to see you, Chief. I know you're one of those people that are just so many working tirelessly every single day to help get control of this fire. No fire is easy, and it's certainly really hard when you have this many homes at risk and so many people who've lost their homes. I just went through on the Grace fire, and it is, to be honest, it's just shocking. I know people who lost their homes. I know people in this room who lost their homes. I know some of our own firefighters lost their homes. And while it's going to take a lot to rebuild their home, it's also going to take a lot to rebuild their life because of the grief that comes with that sense of loss. I want to thank the courageous men and women who've been fighting these fires and coming from all over every corner of the state and also our country, and also every part of this community that has been really stepping up and showing unbelievable support in their donations and their contributions and just their willingness for volunteer. I also want to recognize, we talk a lot about our firefighters, but you know, our sheriff's here, we have our mayor here, we have others from the community at the local and the state level who are all working tirelessly to help just be there for the community. Our big key right now is to get control of these fires, to put them out, and then we've got to stay in this community to help rebuild. And we just need to remember the community. This is not just a few weeks. It's going to take many, many months and a long time.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, actually, I'm going to say one more thing. Sorry, it's been longer days for you guys, but also long. As I was going through the community and obviously seeing the destruction and seeing all the people working to help put this fire out, I also saw a lot of residents. And we really, I can't stress this enough, we have got to have every single person. I know you want to go back and check on your home. I know you want to go back and get something from your home. I know it's hard to be away from your home, but we need you following these evacuation orders, not only for your own safety, but also for the safety of our firefighters who are exhausted and they're tired and they're doing everything they can. Fires are very unpredictable. Wind is unpredictable. It is good to see the weather is hopefully going to give us some respite here, but we're urging people to please follow those evacuation orders for yourselves and your family, but also for our firefighters.
Absolutely, and I also think it's important just to notice the danger of these trees that can fall, the natural gas lines, the down power lines. It is still very much an active site. It is going to take some time for that to recover, and that's what we saw when we were looking at that. I want to now pass it on to the Sheriff.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. A lot of really important information has been presented here in the last couple minutes. To the men and women of the fire service and to the leadership, thank you for explaining to the community what is going on with these fires. I would like to present to the community the fact that it takes time to bring the resources into the area that you are now seeing arrive. We've had a lot of questions about why is it taking so long for DNR and state resources to get here. The reality of it is we requested these resources early on, and you heard about the number of firefighters and the number of personnel who are here. Those don't materialize overnight. It takes sometimes 48, 72 hours for those resources to get into our community, and we're seeing them. They've arrived very quickly. They got here as soon as they can, and we're already starting to see the benefit of those resources here. I cannot thank enough the men and women of the fire service for doing what they have done for the last 48 hours, the men and women of law enforcement who have been working side by side, shoulder to shoulder with the firefighters, getting people evacuated out of our communities, helping people who can't get out on their own. that has been a heroic effort from not only the men and women of the Sheriff's Office, but the Spokane Police Department, the Cheney Police Department, the Airway Heights Police Department, and certainly the Washington State Patrol. But I would also like to acknowledge, as I was driving through these areas, assessing what was going on, not only did we see first responders in there, but we saw a Vista in there helping control scenes. We saw Inland Power in there helping us control scenes, making sure that we're not creating more danger, and then going in and restoring power when they get back. And there's going to be a lot of work to be done in the future. And I want to acknowledge all of our utility workers for the danger that they put themselves in and the long hours right shoulder to shoulder with our first responders. So I want to thank them for that. My main message to the community is this. I know it's been a long 48 hours. I know we have a lot of people who want to go home. You have to trust that we will get you there as soon as it is safe to do so. With the additional fire resources coming in, and as you've seen explained here by the fire command, we're going to be able to start working towards that, and we will let you know as soon as it is safe to do so. Law enforcement, including the State Patrol, many agencies, to include the Spokane Police Department, we are patrolling the evacuated areas to make sure your homes are safe while you are away. We have Border Patrol is helping us. They volunteered to come in. Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife will be coming in and bringing resources to help us patrol those evacuation areas and make sure your homes are safe. So please, don't come in if you don't absolutely have to. It is just not safe. So, and again, I want to thank everybody for what they've done and all the support we received. Thank you to the state for bringing resources that we so desperately need. We could not have been as effective as we've been so far without you, and we know in the next coming weeks we're going to need all the support we can get. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I just want to highlight the incoming Public Information Officer with the Team 7, Patrick, who's going to talk about where to find out information in the upcoming days.
Thanks. Patrick Laird, Team 7 Information. Yeah, it was just, there's an ongoing theme. There's a lot of information needs in the communities, very understandable. So we just wanted to put out there are some good places for information. Updated evacuation information is going to come from the Spokane County Emergency Manager's Office. They're updating their Facebook page hourly, and that's really the place where we're pointing everybody to get the best information. As far as what our team's going to do, we're going to be putting information on the Northeast Washington Fire Information Facebook page. We're also going to be putting out a daily update to the local media, and we're going to be putting out videos, recordings of our morning operations briefings, and getting those out on Facebook as well. So we'll also have media and public information lines set up starting tomorrow to field calls. So hopefully we can start to corral all those needs, and we're going to be coordinating with all our other partners like the Oregon Fire. So, thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to open up questions to the media, and then we can also have some comments after that for the good of the order. Any questions? Well, then we did our job. Okay, did you want to say something? Okay. Okay, well, at this point, we can wrap up unless anyone has anything they'd like to say for the good of the order. Okay, Mayor. Please give her the mic.
I can only read it. Whatever was said here today is exactly spot on where we are. To my community, I want to say there's two things. One, we've had folks wanting to come back in because they need their medication. Please go to the Red Cross. They have doctors and nurses on staff there. They're able to fill your prescription. Don't worry about getting back into Medical Lake. The other thing, we've had folks come in and they were allowed to get through. We've now secured that. Thank you, Sheriff, and all the law enforcement who are securing that perimeter. The list would be too long, and you've heard it all. But the professionalism and the strength and the coordination that's happened has been incredible. But people have come in and they're in their homes in an area that they have no water, they have no power, and they have hot spots in their neighborhoods, and they want to be in their home. So they get in the home, but then once they're there, they have no services. So the message I want to say to those residents in Medical Lake, and I hope we get this out on social media since they have no power to just look at their TV, but the message is that we really need you to leave. We're going to begin going door to door asking you to please leave, because we will have to take resources off of the areas that are so importantly needed right now to come and take care of you. The best way we can take care of you is if you'll go to the Red Cross, find out the resources you need, go to the emergency center for the county. You'll find out when that evacuation order lifts. We want you back as soon as we want you back too, but it has to be done in a systematic and safe way. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Damar Steshner. I'm the emergency manager for WashDOT here in Eastern Washington. And our regional administrator, Todd, just arrived. Todd, would you like to say something? Lucky me.
Thanks, Dean. So if the question was about how long is I-90 going to stay closed, we're currently assessing that right now. That's why we're down here. We're driving the road. We have to balance the need, again, as you've heard here, of the safety of everyone involved and the resources of those that are fighting the fire. And if you were to drive I-90 right now, you would notice that there are still a number of hot spots on each side. Some are smoking areas, some are actually flaming areas. And there are also some trees that have had some substantial fire damage. And so we have to make that assessment on when is the right time to go ahead and open that route. We'd probably like to see some of those hot spots dealt with, but again, is it the right time to pull resources to work on those when there might be more active fire lines that they need to deal with? So those are the conversations that are in place right now. These are all live decisions and activities that are underway. Did that answer the question?
Is your question?
My understanding is that that hasn't been the big problem. Most of the people in town, of course, they have small animals. I have not heard one incident where someone did not get their small animal out. If that's the problem, call 911. We're going to route you to somebody who can get in there and take a look and see if your animal's there. That's the problem. People want to get in and see, is my home there? What's the status? What's going on? And that's just not helpful right now. So if you need help with an animal, call 911 and we'll get you routed to the right person. That's probably the best way to manage that. If you're outside of the perimeter of Medical Lake, again, call 911, especially a large animal. There's also resources through emergency response to help you get those animals. Someone could go look and then try to help you get those secure. So right now, the fire is active, the evacuation is active. I understand the need to want to know. I would too. I've had a house fire. I know how that feels, and I sympathize. The best thing you can do is stop calling and asking. I'm sorry, friends, but please just stop calling and asking. Give us just a couple more days, and then we can get some data and some logistics in place, and then we can share that information as soon as we have real information. What's out there right now is rumors all over the place, and they're just not true. Perfect example, the schools all burned down. It didn't happen. All the schools are standing, all the businesses are standing, City Hall is standing. So just know that the loss was homes. We know that, but we don't have a good, accurate assessment. So just please be patient. Patience is what we need right now. A couple more days, we're going to have a lot more information than we have today.
So I think it's really important for the public to understand why we don't have that information within 48 hours. As you heard the firefighters talk about what they've been focusing on for the last 48 hours, it's been about fire suppression, stopping the fire from growing. Now that we have more resources on the ground, we can start dedicating resources now to coming up with the identification of those structures, and we'll be able to set up call lines. They don't exist today, but coming up very nearly in the future, we'll be able to set up call lines to confirm, which addresses we know there have been losses at. It's coming, but it's taking the additional resources that are trickling in to give us that capability.
Thank you. We got a question?
I had a conversation with Commissioner Franz about the amount of resources we've added to Washington State over the years, and so I was just wondering how critical those resources have been in fighting this fire, and what could have, that line is right at medical, what could have happened had we not had those resources?
Yeah, let me just say, we have unbelievable resources throughout the state, right? From the context of firefighters at the local level, as well as at the Department of Natural Resources, and even have 11 states have brought firefighters before this fire even happened. So we have a significant amount of resources on the ground, including equipment and dozers. We also have about 40 air resources, and we just brought in more on this by calling in the National Guard for some of the larger tankers. In this context, the challenge that we've had where when people say we need more resources, we're getting more resources, the way we work is we pre-position our resources, our air resources and our ground resources throughout the entire state based on risk level, fire risk level. As we know, throughout every corner of the state, we've already fought 1,200 fires. And every single part of our state is largely at a high level risk, PL5 we've moved to. And so we never knew which fire, where they're going to start. We had 17 fires on Friday. We're fighting every one of those, right? And some, unfortunately, because of the wind and that dry landscape, they took off. We were able to get significant resources on the ground very, very fast. The air was a little bit harder just because we did have smoke come in, but we also had a lot of wind, and it is hard for our aircraft to be flying under those conditions. But they are here, and now even more resources are coming from throughout the state that we had pre-positioned in other areas that aren't seeing that fire risk. And can I just say this, too? We had 17 on Friday. We had more fires yesterday. We're going to keep on having fires, but 80 to 90% of our fires are caused by humans. And so when we talk about people helping our firefighters be safe and our communities be safe by not going back in to areas where their evacuation is in place, there's another thing that people can do. We are in some of the highest fire dangers in the state. We have every firefighter on the ground and in the air. Resources are getting stretched the more fires that happen, and our resources are also getting exhausted. We're urging every single person to please take all precautions, follow the rules, and don't create any new fires.
I was just going to follow up real quick on that. You mentioned, can you expand a little bit on how your air crews are dealing with visibility and smoke?
What happens is so safety is number one. This is really important for people. I know, it's hard to understand when you can fly and when you can't fly. But safety is absolutely number one. Safety of our communities and the people, and that's why we put those evacuation orders in place. And safety of our firefighters is absolutely paramount. That means we are going to take all precautions that we're not putting our firefighters in a danger. It's already dangerous, but an extreme danger, and we're going to be smart. And that's why you have all these people here who know they've been challenged in many, many kind of situations. The air, when you see the smoke like this, it's impossible to be able to see. It really is. You add wind then too, it's impossible for many of those resources to fly, and now it becomes an extremely dangerous situation. And I will just say this, we have lost way too many firefighters this year already. We have lost way too many firefighters already in Canada and down in California, right? And so we're going to do everything our part here in Washington State to make sure not only every single person can get back home, and we're hoping to save as many homes as possible, but also so our firefighters can get home safely.